Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new series, the first ever My Career series here on F1 City YouTube channel. aka it's a created driver. Obviously, we have the My Team series, and we also have the Max Verstappen Career series. So this is a new series, a created driver series, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna go ahead and go with the name of John Johnson. That's the same name that we have for the name of the owner of the My Team career mode. So I just figured let's do John Johnson again, and of course, our radio name will be Johnson. And for the number, I'm gonna go ahead and pick number 11, because 12 is already taken, and 12 is the number that I like to take, but Antonelli has
Hey,
that.
I'm Elena. I'll be your agent, and I'm so excited to work together to get to Formula One. Now that we've introduced ourselves, you'll see that you now have a set of driver ratings. These will be tied to you for the entirety of your career and will track your progress. As you perform well out on track, these ratings will improve and feed into various other areas of your journey through F1. We'll cover each rating in more detail later.
So, good information to know. We're starting out with a 65 rating. That's not the best it could be. But for helmet, we're going to go ahead and go with the red, white, and blue because, of course, we are the first American driver on the grid for a while. And for Driver Academy, I really debated between many different academies. I debated between doing, Ferrari, Mercedes. But I'm going to go ahead and choose, I think, something pretty interesting that most people don't do. I'm going to go ahead and choose the Alpine team for the Driver Academy.
This is the current Formula 2 team roster. They're all eager to work with you, so choose who you feel would be the best fit for your journey through F2. Okay, who would you like your teammate to be? You can view both of the current drivers and toggle through some information here before making your decision. It might
So as you can see there, we're going to have Victor Martins as our teammate, and we're starting at F2 as we go into qualifying for Formula 2 in Jeddah. I'm going to do, instead of a 14 race season, I'm doing an 8 race season just to shorten it down so we can get to F1 a little bit sooner. But I still wanted to do F2 just because I believe F2, it's just fun to start off the career in F2. Obviously, this is F2 in 2024 because we would then be joining F1 in 2025. So Antonelli and Bortoleto and people like that are still in F2. Anyways, as we start our first qualifying lap in Q1 sprint, well, qualifying not for the sprint, for the actual main race, as we get to the last corner, just almost getting it turned around so we don't quite hit the wall there. As we apply the DRS, no ERS in Formula 2 as we run to line, and it's good enough for P4.
Pitting this lap then.
And
Come into the
that
pits at the end
was
of
a
this
decent
lap.
lap. As I do find it a bit easier, we are gonna stay out because you can't adjust the fuel. So I figured why box if I can't adjust the fuel. And I do find it easier to get on the limit in these Formula 2 cars. So I'm gonna up the difficulty by quite a bit. It's because I started it even lower than I have it on my normal F1. On my other two series, I have it at, I think, like 90, 92. I might bump it up to 95, right? Because I am getting a slightly better at driving. But here I put it at 85, I believe, just because I didn't know how. As we set the fastest lap, P1, 2 purple sectors, as we decide to not go on another qualifying lap, and we do qualify a pole position by only a tenth of a second ahead of Hadjar. Anyways, definitely might need to up the difficulty because I figured it was going to be harder than it is as we go to the race.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? So an interesting circuit, Jeddah. Like some other street circuits in the Formula 2 calendar, it's likely to present a formidable technical challenge, with a number of challenging turns for our young drivers to master. Plus, it's a hot track, and that high temperature has some big implications for tyre performance that they'll need to keep in mind in order to secure a good result. It's the start of the new campaign, and what better way to get underway than with a high-speed sprint? We welcome Alex Brundle to the commentary box. Alex, what are you looking forward to?
All of the different scenarios we can gather together when you put these great young drivers out on circuit. It's going to be a brilliant year, full of action, and I can't wait to get going with this first sprint. Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alright, so for the sprint, we're going to go with the soft, or super soft tire for the strategy. As we are starting at 10th. I'm not exactly sure how the qualifying works for the sprint. But we start at 10th, which I think they just kind of like mix it up a little bit for the sprint. I'm not exactly sure, because when I have qualified first before, I have also gotten 10th for the sprint. Anyways, it's we will be starting first for the main race, but for the sprint race we will not.
Okay, so that's the rest
Anyways,
of the
we get a pretty decent parking job as we head to the start of this 7-lap sprint race around Jeddah, and lights out and away we go as we struggle to get off the line. We struggle to quite get out of gear, and we're already down a place, but we're just gonna send it down the inside of I do not know how to pronounce that guy's name. I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch Formula 2 enough. I'm not gonna lie. I do know some of the drivers that aren't currently in Formula 1. So I do know a couple drivers, you know, other than, you know, Antonelli, Behrman, Hadjar, people like those. I do know, you know, like our teammate. I know our teammate, you know, and I do know Bernard and people like that. Anyways, as we are sitting in 11th, we've lost one place already. We did manage to take back, and oh, we almost spin it. We almost put it into the wall. We almost throw it away. We almost throw the race away, but we just keep it on circuit, and we probably, look at the tire wear is already slightly bad as we dive it down the inside with aggression, absolutely getting our elbows out after that one. I probably shouldn't have sent it down the inside there. That was probably my fault. But at this time in the race, we don't care whose fault it is. I'm not trying to find out whose fault it is, because I felt like that wasn't my fault, because it's never my fault, right? When you're driving, you feel like it's never your fault. And so I just had to get the elbows out. But we are already 1.5 off Antonelli, so we will be losing that DRS. But let's see if we can catch up with that DRS for the next lap, as DRS will be activated in lap 2. I didn't quite get the replay saved yet again. I do have it for the main race. I just don't have it for the sprint race, which is rather unfortunate. As we skip ahead to lap 3, still in P10 now. Our objective coming up is to catch Hadjar. We have 2 laps to do that. We have set the fastest lap, and so we are kind of flying here, as we run a bit wide, a bit of understeer there, as we are just inside DRS range, just barely, as we move to lap 4, down to turn 13, where we got that dive before. We dive it down the inside of Hadjar, and we take that position. That is brilliant for us. It gets our objective done, as we now move on to Antonelli, trying to get Antonelli done as we move to the end of lap 4, moving on to lap 5. We are gaining, got that slipstream and that DRS on Antonelli. Let's see what kind of move we can have. We threaten to the outside, now we dive it down the inside. Let's see if we can get this position done, and we get the position done. Now we're just trying to keep it in without spinning exactly, as that's one thing that it is nice about the F2 cars. You can get on power relatively early, because there's less power, so you can get you can fully accelerate a lot faster without threatening to spin out. At least from what I've experienced, at least, as we're now seeing what we can do as we bump our front wheel on his gearbox, and now we run wide off track. That's a warning for exceeding track limits, as we maybe have a bit of front wing damage as we dive it down the inside of him, as we are now going after our teammate Crawford, who is one of our drivers for our My Team career mode. Jack Crawford, I believe. I think it's Jack Crawford. I think that's his name. I can't believe I've already forgotten that. Anyways, moving on. This is lap 5 still, and we bump the right side of our car with the wall, so that will be slight front wing damage. So that is going to be threatening to our race. I mean, obviously the race wind's a bit far-fetching at this point, but we're trying to get as high as we possibly can, as we see if we can move down the inside of turn 13. But no, we threaten to move the inside, then go around the outside. But Crawford's going to keep his nose in, and this is going to be a beautiful little scrap, as we just get the move done, and Crawford's going to settle right behind us. So we get that move done, and it's a brilliant overtake to settle into P7 in our first race of our career as John Johnson. Let's see exactly what we can do as we threaten an inside of Maloney and Antonelli, who just overtake Maloney. We touched the edge of, we just barely hit the side of Maloney there with our front wing, and we do it again, but we're going to get the overtake round. Very unorthodox play, sticking an overtake as we run wide off circuit, quite losing the grip here. That can't quite get all the grip that we could, but it is a great pass, and we're up to P6. Let's see if we can get Antonelli, or if we're going to have to settle for P6. We do have the fastest lap, and we do have pretty good pace. So let's see exactly what's going to be possible here in this race, or if it's just going to be a P6. Let's see if we can get Antonelli at the final corner, or if we can get Antonelli anywhere at all. Or maybe we won't be able to, but let's see. As we do have DRS, we are gaining. We have quite a bit of a run on Antonelli. So let's see if this will pay out on the... I'm trying to save up and get a good exit here so we can get a good exit on the final long straight before the final turn 27. As we do have DRS, and we are gaining on Antonelli. We have the slipstream. What can we do to the young Italian, who is an absolute superstar this time? As we dive around the outside, and we looks like we keep the position, but no, maybe Antonelli's coming right back at us. He comes right back at us. Now it's going to be out. It's just going to be a traction battle. We have DRS and the traction, so it looks like we will get P5 in our first race of the season. It's a pretty good race, in my opinion, from P10 all the way to P5. Could be worse, and as a fantastic result in our first race of the season, and we will, I believe, get, yes, driver of the day. So fantastic result in our first race of the season. It is a great way to start our career, and we will be very pleased with that as we head to the race.
To the Jeddah Street circuit, where the excitement is building for what I'm sure will be an exciting Formula 2 race here in Saudi Arabia. So let's examine the Jeddah Street circuit. As you can see, this has the potential to be a very challenging track for our young F2 drivers. We'll get a good chance to see which of them have been able to best capitalise on their time spent here in practice earlier this weekend. And like the other street circuits on the calendar, the lack of runoff is going to make sections of this track very punishing if the drivers get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid having to bring out the safety car this time around. Here is the grid for today's race, which will be starting shortly. Johnson lines up on pole position, with Isaac Hadjar alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Dirksen, Bortoletto, Amory Cordial, Crawford, Maloney, Pepe Marti, Colapinto, Juan Manuel Correa, Antonelli, Villa Gomez, Ollie Behrman, Taylor Barnard, Miata, Hauger, Stanek, Victor Martins, Verschoor, Aaron, Miney, and Enzo Fittipaldi completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. The new season starts now. I'm Alex Jakes, Alex Brundle is alongside me, and it is time to restart Formula 2. We're so excited to be back. Alex, what are you expecting from this season?
Put 22 of the world's best young racing drivers in a pot, some great venues, press go, and it kicks out a champion. I cannot wait to see who comes out on top at the end of the year.
Well, mate, pole position is a great way to start the season, but as you know, there's no points for pole. Now we've got to go and take the win.
As our engineer said, no points for pole. Well, actually, I do think there's points for pole in F2. I don't know what he's on about. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let me know if I'm waffling. I have no clue. I'm clicking on that as we go to the end of the formation lap. We are doing a medium super soft strategy, just pitting at 5 laps on the mediums, 5 laps on the super soft. So good to know that will be our strategy as we go to the start of the main feature race here at F2. Lights out and away we go. It's a pretty decent getaway for us, and we will look like, as we get a little waggle there, quite trying to fight the traction of the car, as we do keep pole position sliding into the first corner. So it's a brilliant getaway by yours truly. John Johnson absolutely showing his unbelievable skill, as he does so many times. Sorry, I just had to glaze myself there for a quick second. As we head into probably my favorite section of Jeddah. This is probably, well, actually, this is my second favorite section. My favorite section is after the straight after turn 13 that we're coming up on here. Anyways, we're already up by 2 seconds, so it's an absolute filthy getaway by yours truly. Unbelievable work. Probably showing that I should up the difficulty just to snag, probably. But I'm okay with having a dominant performance. Don't get me wrong, but on the first race, to be fair, Jeddah is one of my favorite tracks, especially for an F2 car. Anyways, let's head back, look at I think that's how you pronounce his way, trying to get around the outside or getting overtaken by Crawford, but Crawford's having absolutely none of it. A brilliant move from Crawford, a brilliant work from Crawford as Colapinto down in P10, Antonelli and Behrman. So the 3 in F1 currently, obviously this is 2024, so they wouldn't be in F1 because this is the year previously. They are doing fantastic. Although I wish they kind of added the part where Behrman isn't there, because in real life we know Behrman replaced Carlos Sainz in the 2024 Jeddah Grand Prix, but it is what it is. Anyways, as we look at the bottom, our teammate is in... Where is he? I lost sight of him. He started, I think, P18, so that is rather unfortunate. As we go to us, we're absolutely flying. Look at that gap that we have absolutely assembled. As an unbelievable start by John Johnson or yours truly, either one. As we go to the third P2 and P3 fighting, Hajar trying to defend from Dirksen, I believe that's his name, as they're having a lovely scrap, and that's only gonna free up room for Crawford and Bortoleto to get closer, as we do set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we already have a 5-second gap. So it's pure domination by yours truly, by the absolute GOAT himself, John Johnson. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. As we haven't even made it to F1, so it's a pretty bold claim. This is our first race, and I'm calling myself a GOAT. But anyways, we are kind of pulling away in a 2023 Verstappen-ish way. I don't know how I feel saying that about myself, but anyways, I think the difficulty. We'll stop saying it's me, and we'll say it's a difficulty. And Cordell and Maloney, I believe, or Malone. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not gonna lie. They're both still have a kind of little bit of a scrap-ish kind of thing going on there, as Bortoleto did get past Crawford. So this is on lap 2, of course. So it's kind of a fighting for those middle-ish point positions, you know. Obviously, none of them for podiums, as it does look like P2, Hajar, and Dirksen in 2 and 3 have kind of separated themselves. So they're kind of just fighting for P2 at this moment, and we're kind of just trying to keep it on the road, as there is kind of a separation between us, and there's, quite a bit of a separation between Crawford and Bortoleto. Between Dirksen and Crawford. And so it looks like Hajar, Dirksen, and then Bortoleto kind of in the same group there, as we are on lap, what is this, 5. I believe this is our pit lap, if I'm mistaken. I believe it is. Anyways, as we almost lose the car heading into the first of the 2 straights in the back straight, and so that is very, very nice that we could keep that on the road as we head back to lap 2. Bortoleto defending from Crawford, 2 seconds behind Dirksen and Hajar, so he doesn't look like he's going to catch him anytime soon, as we know obviously that there's no such thing as ERS, so you kind of just have to have pure pace to catch up, especially because Hajar and Dirksen will have DRS off of each other, so they will be able to keep up, if you can say, as Crawford tries to move around the outside of Bortoleto heading into the final turn, but will Bortoleto have the traction heading out, or will it be Crawford? Let's see who's going to have DRS also. It's going to be very important to see exactly what's going to happen, as it looks like Bortoleto has DRS, so he's going to have the inside line and DRS. He didn't look like he didn't quite have just a nice traction, but he will scoot just ahead of Crawford to keep that move nicely done, and all this fighting is just keeping a greater selection, about greater than 5 tenths now since that fight started has been separated from Hadjar and Dirksen as we pit going into lap 6. I believe going into lap 6. This is the beginning of lap 6, yes. We have, obviously, stop time is not nearly as fast as the F1 stop time, which is Formula 2. And it is a good stop time, but oh my, I couldn't quite, I was fumbling around with the clutch. I couldn't get it to go. And so that is a bad mistake by yours truly, by the GOAT, John Johnson. I'm sorry, I'll stop. As we need to get back into this race and really get our head down and start focusing in on this race. We are now in P14, so it looks like several people decided to go with an overcut maybe, thinking those mediums will last a little longer than the super softs. As I finally do, I don't know if you guys realize, I do have the times up finally for the replay, so you're welcome. So now you can see the time, so it's a little bit easier to see exactly what's going on. As Hadjar decides to stay out, but who is he fighting? Dirksen decides to come in. So that is very important, as Bortoleto has a slow-ish, kind of fast, not the slowest, but not the fastest pit stop. He's down in P20 already, although he was he was in the pits though, so
okay,
of course he's
Victor's
down
in the
in
pits.
P20.
Victor's in the pits now.
Sorry. As we are now set up purple sector 2, and we're already up to P2 after all those people pit. And all these Antonelli and Colapinto staying out, all they're doing is just making the undercut be even worse, because I'm closing the gap even more as we head into laps at the end of lap 7, as they do finally come into the pits. But maybe they're waiting, as we do set the fastest lap of the race, as maybe they are waiting for some type of red flag or safety car or something, but I just don't think that's going to happen, especially around this circuit in the first race of the season like this. I just don't think it's going to happen. But we are now 7, almost 8 seconds ahead of Dirksen, so I think Dirksen did close up relatively, and he definitely got the undercut on Hadjar. He gained about 4 seconds on Hadjar. Hadjar staying out cost him. Hadjar staying out for 2 more laps, I think it was, cost him tremendously. He lost about a second a lap on Dirksen, so that was a massive mistake by Hadjar. He should have followed Dirksen in, but he didn't. So I don't really know what was the point of that. As we focus back on ourselves, lap 8. Honestly, at this point, this is the last lap where I'm deciding to kind of. This is where I'm semi-pushing. I'm like pushing, but I'm kind of keeping it conservative, because I think that I do need to bring it home. But although part of me just really wants to have that 10-second gap when I win. That's just kind of, I don't know. There's something about a 10-second gap. Anyways. As we go back to focus back on Bortoleto, he looks like he got undercut a bit by Maloney there, because Maloney, I think he decided to come in a lap earlier. Maybe he didn't, or maybe it was just a slow pit stop. But I think he came in a lap earlier, so that is very unfortunate for him, for Bortoleto obviously. And Hadjar, he's kind of in no man's land. Same with Dirksen. Dirksen had a crazy undercut on Hadjar. Hadjar is gaining a little bit more on him now, because maybe the slightly fresher tire, since he pitted 1 or 2 laps later, is coming into play. But he lost so much time in that undercut that it doesn't really matter. As we move to the end of the lap, we take the final turn 27, and we did get that 10-second gap, but we're just going to waste it here, just doing some victory lines, I guess you can say, as we let off the throttle and we win the first race of the season. It is P1 in Jeddah in the feature race. It is an unbelievable finish. Pole to P1.
Congratulations, well done.
Victory for ART then, after a quality performance.
Well, they've sent that one, haven't they? Brilliant start to the season, and that's exactly what they wanted for their early points tally.
ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display from team and driver.
as it is P1. Beautiful finish for us. Let me know what you think. I definitely think I should raise the difficulty in this series, but I think I will be posting the series about once a week. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about a video. Please comment. Please subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.